the ability to help an entrepreneur realize their dreams of starting a business and financial freedoms and helping others. Franchising was the perfect vehicle to spread our mission, our vision, and to spread my joy and passion to what we do and helping others.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nuske here. I hope you're doing really, really well. It's wonderful to have your support for the show. It's making all of the difference at knowing that the show is making a difference for you. Now, speaking about people who are making a difference, recently I spoke with Mr. Jake Rankin, and he is joining us again today on the My Future Business Show to talk about the franchise opportunity with Talem Home Care. So welcome to the show, Jake.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful to have you back on the show. Our first call was focused on the service side of your organisation, and today we're going to be firstly covering off a little bit about your personal life, then shifting gears into the franchise model for those who are interested in getting involved in that side of your business. So, where's home for you?
I currently live in Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee.
Now, I know it's fairly cold there. Would that be right?
It can be in the wintertime. It's not yet, but it can be in the wintertime.
Yeah. What in summertime does it get like reasonably warm or? Yeah,
I can get. I don't know. It very rarely gets in the hundreds, but it can get in the 90s, and it can be some really high humidities as well. So
yeah, wow.
Get sticky and miserable.
Are you a cold weather fan or a warm weather fan?
I like colder weather. By far.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Me too, I'd have to say. Now, we've talked about this earlier in terms of things you like to do when you're not working. What's some of the things you enjoy in your personal time?
The biggest thing, I think, is spending time with my family. We like to do some fishing and ice fishing. We go to zoos and petting zoos and parks, and we do some boating and four-wheel riding, and just spending time with my family, and particularly time in the outdoors. We very rarely just sit around the house and watch movies or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we spoke earlier about that refreshing feeling you get when you're out in the open, the smelling of the pine and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that side of the experience for you.
When you live in a city, you can get really kind of busy and loud and noisy. And yeah, like you said, just getting away in the fresh air and enjoying nature and seeing the deer and the animals and being a part of nature and getting away from the crazy busyness of everybody. That's really enjoyable for us.
Do you go often? How often do you happen to get away?
Well, we recently bought a cabin in the woods here in Wisconsin, so we probably get up there about every other weekend or so. And then if we're not up there, then we're here at home doing something.
Doing
outside.
something. Now, it seems to me like you have a family who really enjoys the outdoors, and what else do you enjoy doing? Do you actually play any sports, or what's that side of your life look like?
I used to play a lot of sports. I used to play a lot of softball. I don't do that as much anymore. I've injured myself and had to retire, if you will, from that.
Yeah.
I do like watching football.
Who's your team? Really, who are you following?
I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan.
Wonderful.
Yeah, big Seattle Seahawks fan. So I think, between football and really my relaxing and hobbies is, one hobby I like to do is I like to smoke meat. I like to cook and smoke meat in my smoker.
Excellent. Actually. Does that take long? I've heard a lot about it, but I've never tried it myself.
It depends on what you're making. Yeah, my ribs I can do 3.5 hours, 4 hours. The pulled pork takes me about 7 to 8 hours, and here in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a brisket. That might take me 14. I'm not sure how long that'll take me.
You're making me
16
hungry.
hours.
You know that, don't you?
This weekend, I'm entering. My town here is having a festival, which we love going to festivals too. But I'm entering the chili cook-off, which I've had 2 third-place finishes, and so I'm hoping to get this year, better.
So do you enjoy chili?
I love making chili. Yeah, I love chili. I like cooking. I love to cook.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, I had a friend who gave me a hot chili one time, and he didn't tell me it was one of the most hottest you can get. And he gave me a slither of this thing. Oh, I almost died. It was horrible. It was so hot. How do you deal with that? Do you like the really, really hot stuff?
No, not entirely. I like a little bit of heat, but I just like chili con carne. The beans and meat, and the chili. Nice and thick and hearty, put some cheese and cornbread on it. And
Very nice. Now, Jake, as a father, you're creating memories for your children, which are vitally important. I guess, are they very similar to your own? And could you share a little bit about your time growing up that you remember fond memories?
Yeah, growing up, in Oregon, it's kind of the same thing. We spent a lot of time fishing and hunting and spending time in the woods. My family, my grandparents bought some land when the year I was born, actually, and they spent 5 summers, them and my dad and my uncle, building a cabin in the woods on a lake. And I remember growing up just spending all my time in the woods there as much as I could on in the weekends and around the summers and with my grandparents and my family. And so, that's always been kind of the biggest memories I have. And so that's what I've been trying to do with my family here, which is why my wife and I, we bought this cabin this last December. And my oldest son in particular, he is just all things outdoors.
Excellent.
He just
loves it.
Anything involved, he's there and wants to do it.
Yeah, and he'd be looking to you as a mentor, as you would have been looking to others as you were growing up in your formative years, Jake. I'm wondering if we could maybe touch on people that have helped shape you into the individual you've become.
I guess the biggest influences were my dad and my grandmother. Were my biggest influences. Although my uncle was the one that encouraged me to get into healthcare 18 years ago.
Yep. Wow. Time flies.
Yeah. I've had some in high school. I became friends with some people, and I just became part of their family, and they really molded me, and sculpt, me into who I am. And then professionally, I've had, 2 really strong mentors, both former bosses of mine that just showed me, what it's like and what it means to be a leader and to be a manager and how to survive and be an entrepreneur in this business.
Yeah, thank you. I know that you have a very strong educational background, Jake. I'm wondering, before we touch on the qualifications that you actually hold, do you enjoy reading, and who do you like reading? What type of books? Do you have any books that you're reading?
Mostly I read business books.
Yep. No surprises there.
I think I'm looking at my shelf right now. I've got Traction as a book I have slated to read next, and
yep.
The Wealthy Franchise, I think, is sitting over there.
Do you like audiobooks at all?
I haven't. The problem I have is finding time to do it. Between work and my kids are young. I've got a 6 and 8 year old, and so
snaps of week.
Every free moment is if I'm not working is Daddy, let's go do something.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I know you sleep well at night.
Yeah, they wake me up at 6 and I put them to bed at 8, and by about 8:30 I'm snoring away. I'm so tired by the
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, I think it's important, for the sake of context, because we are going to be talking about the franchise model, and I think your credibility, I guess, behind all of this and your educational background is somewhat important. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, I've got a bachelor's degree in business with a double major. One was marketing, and then the other was organizational leadership and behavioral skills. Then I went on and got my MBA and a master's in business. And then when I got into healthcare, I eventually became a certified senior advisor. That was a very difficult test to take. There was a lot of training involved there, but well worth it. Glad I did it. And then when I started in the franchising side of to sell franchises, I really wanted to learn more and all I could about it. So I went to Georgetown University and I got a certificate in franchise management from Georgetown, which I'm very proud of that. And then I also became a certified franchise executive. So the International Franchise Association, which is the largest franchise association in the world, I went through their certification program to become certified.
And I think it's very important for the sake of context so people know who they're dealing with here, obviously. Now, I'd like to know what inspired you to go not only on the service side with Talem Home Care directly, but into the franchise side of business?
In senior care, my uncle first put the thought in my head about healthcare and senior care, because I was looking for something that had a meaning to what I was doing. And what I was doing before, selling cell phones and postage machines and stuff like that, while they were great companies, it just didn't have an impact that getting involved in somebody in healthcare does. So, in my college career, part of what I did is I also was an intern through the SBA, and I worked at the Small Business Development Center. They had an office there on campus, and so small business owners would, for free, they were able to come in and get free counseling and advice. And so the guy who ran it, he was then, I think he still is, an Oregon State representative, but he allowed me to watch him and be part of that process as he coached entrepreneurs. And so throughout my career, I've always had a passion of that, helping small business owners and helping people start their businesses. And to the point where at one point in my career, I had a business doing small business consulting. So I was doing that for a while, and one of the owners, one of the clients that I had, he wanted to do a non-medical home care company. And so we eventually made the decision to move forward with that. There was some personal dramas in my life, but so when we did that, my ultimate goal was to get the business started, get it running, put a manager in place, and then I was going to get back to doing my consulting and helping small business owners. And somebody, a friend of mine, had made the comment, well, have you looked into franchising? I think franchising is a perfect marriage of your two passions. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of liked the idea. My talent and skills and passion for senior care is definitely there. And then the ability to help an entrepreneur realize their dreams of starting a business and financial freedoms and helping others. Franchising was the perfect vehicle to spread our mission, our vision, and to spread my joy and passion to what we do in helping others.
That's excellent. I wonder if I can just jump in there, because I have a question before I forget to ask it. In terms of, and we will shift to the actual services and how that becomes involved in the franchise side of it. But what is a franchise? There'd be some people on the call today may not know too much about it. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, franchise essentially is a program and a system that you can buy into to help you start a business, particularly if you don't have any experience in that industry. We give you all the training on how to start, open, run, and manage your business, and we give you the forms and the materials and the training. And then part of the franchising is also we license and grant you a recurring license to use our name, use our processes, use our differentiators as part of that. So I think for someone who, and they say in franchising, there's studies out there coming out that shows, if you could do it on your own, but the true value behind franchising is being part of a community that has got your back and is going to help push you and guide you and hold you accountable to being better and for growth. And so, being part of a franchise system helps boost the value of your business, but it also helps you, throw ideas, and when you get stuck, if you're a mom and pop, you may not know who to turn to or who to trust and getting advice and how to manage your business or how to take your business to the next level. Being part of a franchise system, you have us as the franchisors, but then you also have the ability to turn to the other franchisees and the other people who are in your shoes, and you can learn the best practices and the tips and better ways to do things.
So who would this particular franchise be suited for?
It's best suited for, first of all, a person with the heart and passion for this industry. You have to have the right attitude, and you really have to get an excitement to helping others and making a difference within your community. If you're just in it to make money, well, yes, you can do that. But if you're in it just to make money and your heart and passion isn't in this, then you may not be a good fit. Yeah. We look for individuals who volunteer within the community, but also individuals who, I would say, they're entrepreneurial at heart. They like to figure things out, but they're not afraid to ask and get help from people as well. Who are open to following a system, following processes. Healthcare, we can be somewhat regulated, and so you have to have strong attention to detail and be willing to follow a process and and be part of a team.
Now, I know, one of the big things with getting involved as a franchisee is the need for help and support. Do you provide that, or do you just give them an online portal to go to? How do you help your franchisees?
Training and support really is kind of the backbone of our company. Traditionally, in the franchise model, I would say I've seen that they basically give you manuals and portal trainings and say, go do it. And when I launched as a franchise system, I actually I have a lot of friends in the industry, and I interviewed people who had bought franchises, and I said, what are some things you like and things you didn't like about, the whole process and everything. And training and support was constantly the biggest thing that we realized. And so, our approach is, we don't necessarily want to be a franchisor. We really want to be a partner of yours. We want to be there to help train and support you, at whatever stage you are in your business. And that training and support is going to be unlimited, no matter what. Because we find that business owners, while they have, in order to be an effective business owner, you have to have knowledge in everything. But the truth is, nobody has that knowledge. They're not attorneys. They're not HR professionals. They're not digital marketing specialists. They're not, insurance specialists.
You can't be everything to everyone, can you?
You can't be everything to everyone. You can't know everything. So our approach is, we've created a team of subject matter experts that will guide you through everything you might face. And part of that team might be my internal staff, and part of that team might be some of the vendors and experts that we lean on. But if you ever have a question on something, the answer is, I don't know, figure it out. The answer is going to be, here's the answer, or here's the resource, or hey, let's get this person involved and let's get that answer together.
Do you bring your franchisees together at all to interact as a community?
We definitely try to, yeah, and we strongly encourage that. We're going to, prior to COVID, we were having yearly conferences and meetings in person and trying to get people involved. We're trying to utilize Zoom more and get more involvement through monthly meetings and getting them to network and work with each other. But that ultimately, that is the ultimate goal. Yes. Has
there been much change in terms of your operations, given the world that we're currently living in?
More Zoom meetings. We've actually learned that majority of the training and support we provide can be done remotely through sharing screens and Zoom meetings. Because we've had to be somewhat creative in figuring out ways to provide that training support without physically being there. That has led to some online training and portals in our Talem University, And it's led to us creating more and really beefing up our technology infrastructure. So we have more access to KPIs and information and data points so we can support our franchisees.
This is what I love about what you're doing is you're pivoting when you need to, you're innovating just to make sure that you're able to serve the people that are working with you. Now, I'd love to talk about regions if we could, Jake. How do you allocate a region to a franchisee?
We call them territories, but we award our territories. So if you remember, I told you I interviewed people in the franchising world before I started. And
yes.
I said training was one big issue, but territory size was always another issue.
Yeah.
And so we like to have large territories. And in fact, I'm proud to say we have the largest territories in the industry. And it's zip code based, and it's based off of the number of population within that zip code. So an average territory for us will be anywhere, 400 to 500,000 people in population. You can get as high as 625,000 people in population. And our primary goal is, we want you to have full control of your brand name and your brand reputation within the metro area you serve. And so, our goal is to, for you to own that whole metro if possible. We have found sometimes that, if there's too many franchisees in a city or metro area, that can cause some problems. And so by offering the larger territory, we've eliminated or really limited that concern.
Yeah.
And so our goal is, while we want to have 150, 200, 300, 400, 500 locations, just like every other brand, we want that to be with like 50, 60, 70 franchise owners, because we feel that there's, we want to maintain that personal touch, that personal relationship, and the only way to do that is by having a smaller group of franchise owners. But we hope by providing that level of training, that level of support, and pushing you through, you're going to have that huge success in territory one, which is going to encourage you to buy the next territory that's next to you, and then the next territory that's next to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep thinking to myself, if this was me, I'd like to know how long it's going to take for me to start seeing results, because at the end of the day, I'm buying into a business, so I need to get results. What's the typical turnaround from investment to return?
It's kind of a loaded question, and I can't necessarily promise any type of performance by any means. And there's so many factors on the person's ability to grow. I would say that's one characteristic of a good franchise owner, is not being afraid to do sales or getting out in the community and grow your business. I would say average wise, you can break even in, 9 to 18 months, maybe. I've seen less, I've seen more.
Which is quite common.
Yep. And then, I've seen anywhere from 2 to 5 years to where they make their money back. I've seen people not make their money back. So I would hope, my hope and goal would be after 2.5 years, you've made your money back, and my hope is that you're fairly profitable, but it's hard to promise that.
It's hard to promise that. Thank you very much for sharing and being open. I love to go back to the services side that we spoke about earlier, because I know that there's a great deal of different things that you provide. Now, I'd like to just touch on, this is a non-medical in-home care only?
No, not only.
Not only?
Not only, no. So we do 3 things typically. We do non-medical in-home care, which you mentioned, and there's a lot of franchise brands that's all they do is that.
Yep.
Then we do what's called senior placement services, where we help people find the appropriate nursing home or assisted living to live at. And there's franchise brands that, if you buy a franchise, you can buy a franchise that only does that also. So we're one of the rare, if not the only, brands that offers both franchise offerings for the same price. It's one franchise fee that you get both. So those are 2 primary services we provide. And then the third service that we provide is really, based off of our approach to care and our philosophy to how we approach our community. But we provide free care management and advocacy services within our communities and the markets that we serve as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'm loving this call. There's just so much to take in, and we've talked about the type of individual would be a good fit for this. But I'd love to, if we could, talk a little bit about the guess, the application process and how you go about deciding, hey, look, I think this is going to work for you?
So, the process that we have is, we first start by just having a casual conversation, about what is the goal or the needs and what are they looking for the potential franchise candidate. Then we roll into a little bit more about, I have a presentation that talks about our training, our support, our core values, and our mission. And because it's really important to me that our franchise partners, they need to believe in our core values and support our core values and our mission and our approach to care as well. From there, then we go to, a legal review process where we take a look at what is required of you as a franchisee and what's required of me as a franchisor.
Yep.
And there's a document called a franchise disclosure document that outlines all those things. And so I share that document with them. We talk about it. We go over it, make sure that they're comfortable with it. The next step would be we go over their territory. We build that territory together, and we take a look at the demographics and make sure that they're happy with the zip codes and geographically where they're at. And during that whole time, they're going through their funding process if they need to get loans, and then we do a discovery day where we actually get to meet. I like to meet as either early in the whenever they want to meet. I can come out to them and meet them early in the process. But we do a discovery day where we get to meet in person. They can see a day in the life and really get to know get to know the process and get to know the team and make sure that they can, they get a good understanding, I guess, of that day in the life.
So with the franchise side of it, what year did that start again?
We started the process of becoming a franchise in 2015. We started trying to sell franchises really in 2017.
Fantastic. And where are the locations? I know that there's a long list of locations at the moment. And what are your plans for expansion?
Our expansion plans are slow and controlled growth. We don't need to onboard 10, 15, 20, 30 franchises a year. We want quality franchise partners who believe in what we do, that we feel very strongly about. And we're going to be very selective as to the partners we bring on board. So, we have currently 8 franchise partners, and we have 2 corporate-owned locations on top of that. So we've got locations in, we've got one in New Haven, Connecticut. We have another franchise partner in Hartford, Connecticut. We've got in Sterling and Ruston, Virginia. We've got Nashville, Tennessee. We've got Orlando, Florida. We've got Denver, Colorado is a franchise. We have a franchise there. Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Fort Collins, Colorado are all franchise locations.
So you can see here, this is giving even more weight, more credibility to the work that you're doing. It's a real credit to you, Jake. I'm very excited for you. Now, I'd just love to get your opinion on this. How do you think you're redefining franchising when compared to others in similar spaces?
I believe we do that through our partnership approach versus that hands-off approach a lot of franchises do, which includes all the training and hands-on support that we provide. I also think that we do that through our territory size. We offer very large territories, and when I first started doing that, I had competitors and even people in other industries telling me I was crazy for offering such large territories. But it just fit with what I personally believe in, and our approach. And then I think, our franchise agreement is very franchisee friendly, and it was written to the point where I said to myself, if I was buying a franchise from someone, what would I want in a franchise agreement? What would I expect? And so, when throughout this process and all the people we worked with, we've got a lot of compliments on our franchise, even from franchise attorneys and stuff. They've complimented us on how well written it was, and so I think all of that combined is how we're really kind of redefining how franchising is through our support system, and just taking the mindset of thinking through the lens of a franchisee instead of thinking through the lens of a franchisor.
Yeah, this has been a wonderful call. There's just so much great insight that you've provided. I've learned a little bit about you and your family, the things you love to do, the services, the franchise opportunity. And if you're on this call today and you're excited as I am about Talem Home Care Placement Services and you want to have a look into their franchise model, make sure you reach out to Jake and his wonderful team. And with that being said, Jake, where are people going to find you if they want to connect with you?
Our website is talemfranchising.com. is for our franchising website. Our services website is talemhomecare.com. You can also call me at our toll-free number is 833-TALEM-HC. Or you can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
That's excellent. Thank you once again, Jake. It's been a wonderful call. And if you're on this call today and you're looking for those links, don't worry. I'll be making sure that those links are below this post. No matter where you stumble upon this call, you will find the links back to Jake and his wonderful team. And with that, Jake being said, thank you so very much for joining me on the My Future Business show today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.